Dun, 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 dun. You do that better than I do. We are on. We're live again.
Live. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. Staying busy.
Yeah.
Trying not to get too pissed off all that I work with, and I'm trying my best.
Yeah. Pre ICAST week, so
Yes,
you're buried.
It's a weird time for me. You start seeing a lot of the stuff. I'm trying to do two things at one time. You start seeing a lot of stuff from friends and doing other things, and then you start to get this excitement. Looks like I'm having problems already. You want to have this excitement about ICAST, and it's one of the things I have to bring up as is, but let's just leave that for later.
Right on.
How I was watching one of your videos today of forgot the name of the unboxing you did. It was all the
Fish tools?
Yes.
Fish tools. I got it right here. Jewel Baits.
Jewel Baits is what it was. Yes.
Yeah. So, this is kind of like what Six Sense is doing. One tackle company doing all their own stuff. They don't outsource anything. And it's a jig heavy box for sure.
How much is it?
Jewel Baits is a jig company. I mean, basically that's kind of how they got started, and they still are. If you go to their website, heavy on the jigs, and then they throw in a few other things too. So if you're not a jig fisherman, you wouldn't like the Jewel Baits box at all, because you're going to get a lot of jigs.
By the way, happy birthday.
Thank you.
When was your birthday?
July 9th, last week.
July 9th. I apologize. I did not know that.
That's all right. No big deal.
It will go in my little phone book, though, and then from here on out, I will know the exact time.
Well, what's crazy is Jewel Baits knew my birthday. Did you see that?
I saw that. That's how I remembered.
They gave me a birthday card in the box, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that was actually, to be honest, that was cool.
That was cool. I mean, there's Chris Hill, man. What up, Chris? How's everybody doing? Yeah, it's just a little thoughtful sort of little thing. The other thing, other reason I like Jewel Baits is, man, it's 100% American made.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's made right in the US of A. High quality stuff. They've been around for a long time. If you live in the Ozarks area like I live, man, everybody knows Jewel Baits, but you get a little beyond that, and not so much. Well, he wants me to show you my wife's present here. Let me see.
I think I saw it.
Maybe with the light shining. There it is, right there.
Yeah, nice. I saw that in the live show.
Yeah. That was cool.
Where are you in your house, just out of curiosity?
This is my studio.
But what room was it before it was a studio?
It's a wet bar.
Okay.
This whole area here, if you look, is the bar.
Okay.
That I have all my computer and everything on, and then behind is another counter with a sink back there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
You can see the sink right there. And then these are shelves, and I just put all my tackle and hats and everything up on the wall, and it works great because I'm not a drinker, so I don't need a bar.
Yeah, me too. I don't drink at all.
So
I never have drank.
A great studio.
Yeah, you make it work. I have the room. You can't see it, but the room where the camera is right here.
Yeah.
So that's the spare bedroom.
Oh, nice.
And well, it's the playroom spare bedroom. So Thomas wanted a playroom. So when we built this house, that was what it was going to be. And then, I start seeing all these people like you, and I see my friend Eric from Moss Outdoors Fishing Adventures or something like that. And he's got this nice room. And then I see NRO's got this beautiful room. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mimic this. And then, this is my office, and there's just, I don't have time to do it. That's the God's honest truth. So you can see my backdrop over there.
Yeah,
And
that
then
you do
I
all your
have
videos with.
lights and
Yeah.
everything. And then of all things, see those shirts? Those are the orders of shirts of how they go. So if you see one, me in blue, the one next to it's white will be the next Hook shirt I wear when I do my intros. And I kind of go down the row. The whiteboard is very important. That's all Thomas's times and where our goals are at for the next, foreseeable future. Hopefully,
yeah, so he's a big swimmer.
yeah, he can. That my kid can. My kid. No offense to anybody's kids on this chat. My kid will outswim you. There is at 10 years old or 11 years old, he will flat out run your ass over. He is. He is absolutely ridiculous. Fourth in the state in backstroke. He can. I mean, we swim 6 days a week.
That's
really,
awesome.
right now we're swimming 7 times because we're doing 2-a-days too.
Jeez.
So, yeah, at 11 years old, and you want to know, he isn't even the fastest kid on the team. That's the craziest part about it. We have 2 kids. We have one kid named Bryce, who, quite honestly, could be the fastest breaststroker in the country. And then we have Kyle. Kyle is probably top 1 to 3 in the country for fly. And Thomas is right on their heels. And these 2 kids I will be honest, if I am 100% sure Bryce will go to the Olympics. He is that fast at 10 years old.
Holy moly.
It's fun to watch. Some of the best kids ever too. Just
I bet it is.
Good kids and they just work really hard. So it is what it's what I do I mean, you know this. We talk when I'm at the swim. You hear them swimming nonstop.
Yeah. I'm on the phone with you when you're watching the swimming quite a bit, actually.
When the coach is yelling at everybody.
Yeah.
1050s on the 30. And you're like, okay, whatever you say. Don't say a word to me.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I guess we ought to apologize to our viewers because we kind of faked you guys out. I told you guys on the Sunday night show that we're going to have a special guest. And
we had 3 lined up.
And I didn't say who it was, but I did say it was a pro fisherman. And guess what? Both of them backed out.
Yep.
So then last minute I scrambled and I was able to get in touch with the bait man Baxter. He's awesome. Got a great YouTube channel. He was all about it. Literally on board, ready. 30, 45 minutes before we went live, he got a call from his work. Had to go into work. So that's just the way it goes. We didn't try to intentionally deceive you. It just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, I think they send this weekend. So definitely, I think his last day of practice was today. And then, I mean, the other one, I don't even know what's going on with the other one, to be honest. I've texted 3 or 4 times. I will say, one of the things we want to talk about is last week we talked about John Cox, and we had him on for a little, kind of, sort of, a little bit for a second.
Yeah.
And then I think the internet went down or something. I don't even know what was going on. Storms or whatever was happening last week at this time.
Yeah, he was kind of cutting in and out.
Yeah, and since then we know he's been disqualified, and it's led me to a lot of thinking about where do we stand in not we, us, the anglers stand in terms of the state of the union for bass. I mean,
yeah, I'd like to know that myself. I mean, are you hearing any scuttlebutt about that or what?
I in my opinion, I think now I understand people going, the rules are the rules. I understand that. I'm not taking anything away from it. But really, when you know the history of John and what he was trying to do this year in terms of fishing, you really realize that he was going for it all. He was going to fish. He started off saying he was going to, well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. He fished bass 2 years ago, made the classic, did all that stuff. And, it was FLW to start off with. FLW got bought by Major League Fishing. He gets invited to go to to join the elites, and that was his dream. And but his dream is not really to fish the elites. It's just to fish everything.
Yeah,
if you know John, it isn't. He just wants to make as much money as he can in the time that he has this window of opportunity. So when last year, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm gonna put this. Look at Booster's comment while you're talking there.
I'm about excoriated. Really?
Now, if people don't know, Bass Boat Central is an online forum. Lots of anglers. I'm on it a lot, and a lot of guys get on it, and we just talk. It's just a bunch of talk. And he's saying they really ripped him a new one. That's interesting. I didn't want to interrupt your train of thought, but while you're talking, I'm gonna go to my channel and look up that poll that I put out about what people think. I got like 100. I got like 100 responses to that now. Thought I'd show you that.
So so this year when John was making his decision on where he was going to fish, one of the things he had said was that he started off going, I'm going to fish the pro circuit and I'm going to fish the BPT. And the reason why he did that was that the elites were very late on giving out where they were going to fish this year. They were way behind everybody else. I mean, excluding NPFL, which NPFL was actually waiting to announce where they were going to go because they didn't want to overlap with the elites, which makes a lot of sense. So John said, I'm going to fish these two circuits. I'm going to fish BPT. I'm going to fish the pro circuit. And quite honestly, I don't want to say the people that were horrible to him on the elites, but he had some of the biggest names, not anglers, inside the organization call him and tell him how bad and it was a mistake and giving him a really hard time. And he said to him, look, they haven't even told us where we're even fishing this year. This makes no sense. We're this far late. I know COVID, blah, 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 but it was ridiculous. And then the schedule comes out and he looks at it and goes, you want to know what? I think I can fish all three circuits. He talks to Boyd. Boyd says, look, I'll do everything I can to make sure you're in group B if that's how it is. He talks, from what I understand, he talked to the Bass, and the Bass said, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't, not like he had it written in, he had a kind of a thing saying, look, if I do things right, this is going to be good for, not only is it good for Bass to have one of the best anglers on the planet on their group, but it shows his commitment to being in the industry and how much he's, it's helping his sponsors. It's doing all these things. And while I know that there's a lot to the rules are the rules, but I think in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think it's really shitty to DQ him for the tournament that they're doing starting, I think, tomorrow.
He's really kind of set the stage. I know there was a few guys kind of back in the BASS FLW days that were fishing both circuits. But you just don't see many guys that do it. And for a guy to do it and also be able to successfully compete at the same time is pretty amazing, because you want to talk about a grueling, grinding schedule. And so that just creates more interest. I think he's definitely an angler that a lot of people follow because he fishes so many circuits. Let me show you this poll here real quick. All right. Can you see that?
Yeah, 81%.
How do you feel about John Cox being disqualified? And the question, there's 100 votes. It's unfortunate, but rules are rules. That's awesome. John Cox wins too many tournaments anyway. Or John Cox got the shaft. He should just stick to fishing the BPT. And 81% thinks rules are rules.
I voted, and I'll be honest, he should stick to the BPT.
Yeah. Oh, well, probably that's what it'll do, is going to be my guess. I mean, you may know better than me, but We can't speak for him, but
I'm not speaking for him at all. I'm not speaking for him at all.
yeah, I know you're not.
I don't think he fishes for. I don't think he goes back to the elites. I know that in that brief conversation that we had, that luckily kind of went out, or else there was a couple things that he probably didn't want everyone to hear. He made a mention to me that he tried to get back with a lot of anglers and say, look, I've had your back on this stuff. It would really be nice if everyone as a group, as a tournament series, can get together and have my back, because I didn't go into where we were supposed to fish. I know it does help that it's the same kind of body of water and there's an imaginary line. And yes, you get that. Knowing what they did there does help you. I understand that, but it's kind of one of those gray areas, in my opinion. And I think he asked the anglers for help and guidance, and I think they just completely broke his heart. I think they just went no, and I don't think anybody had the balls to stand up for him. And I think there's a lot of as unpolitical as it is, I think there was a lot of political stuff that backed it. I mean, John Cox doesn't fish that tournament. He doesn't qualify for the Classic. That opens another spot for the Classic. It allows people to move up on the list. I know he wore his weigh-in jersey at the MLF. He wore his MLF jersey on the third day, and that pissed off a lot of people. But I can tell you, I don't think John did that on purpose. Scott Canterbury did it the first year he was on the FLW, on the elites, and I was there when I was backstage. Canterbury came up, did his thing on there, and it was a complete accident, because the jerseys all look the same. It's just a patch or whatever right there.
Yeah.
And these guys are getting up at 3:30 in the morning. They're just trying to do their best. But Scott came up, went on stage. It said FLW on there. He got off stage. They told me I wasn't allowed to use the interview with Scott because it said FLW. And I'm like, I'll blur it out. And I didn't blur it out. I just was like, screw it. I don't care. But I believe it was still an accident. But in all honesty, I think Bass made a drastic mistake. And I don't think, if I were John, I wouldn't go back to them. I don't think it just proves that Bass and some of these guys just don't have his back. And John is just a really straightforward, honest person. If you ever meet him and you ask him a question, he doesn't give you any bullshit. It's straight, the honest answer. And I think now he feels like he was slighted, and I just don't see him ever going back or fishing the elites unless something drastic is done. I think he makes more money I think he'll make more money on the BPT and the pro circuit, to be honest. So that's just my take. And by the way, shout out John Cox, by the way. I'm shouting him out.
Heck yeah. Well, it's interesting if he does back out of the BASS elites, he's still going to want to fish more tournaments. So makes you wonder what he's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, does he
then see him just fishing the BBT?
Well, he'll fish BPT in the pro circuit, and that's still, 13 or 14 tournaments. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have the Southern Opens, if he doesn't run those Southern Opens, because if the Southern Opens on the Harris chain, he is flat out, he is going to be all over that one. That's his home. That's his pond. So what do you think? I mean, do you think Bass is making a bad mistake here, or do you feel like, the rules are the rules?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm kind of torn, because I was thinking about this from the perspective of the other competitors, and it's kind of brutal out there on the circuit. It's kind of a dog eat dog sort of thing. They're all competing for, especially the guys in the AOI race are competing for points.
Yeah.
And I think my guess is it was probably less about John Cox personally and more about the fact that they've got the opportunity to disqualify somebody that can put a beat down on them. So why not do it? He broke the rule. You know, you can look at the letter of the law, and he's definitely broken the letter of the law. He's on the water during a time frame when he's not supposed to be. And so I can see guys calling him out and saying, raising a big stink about it and saying, too bad. That's the way it goes. I wonder if there's not a little bit of jealousy too, just by the fact that he gets to fish the BPT and the elites, and a lot of those guys have been kind of shut out of the BPT. There's still guys there that never got invited. There's guys who were there and decided to leave because whatever reason. So it's not all hugs and kisses in between those two circuits anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, there's probably a lot of politics involved. It does not surprise me at all. Where I think, from everything I've read and heard, where I think the real major mistake is that BASS should have clarified that at the very beginning when John Cox was signing up for both circuits. They knew he was going to be signing up for both circuits. They knew both schedules. They knew how these two tournaments overlapped, and there was going to be problems. It could have been, if it had been made known at the very beginning of the season, he might have been unhappy, but it wouldn't have gone down this way. And
I mean, and really, this is no offense to John. Again, shout out John Cox. I'm going to say that a lot. John isn't generally a smallmouth fisherman. That's the God's honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because the BPT he did well with and won he won his bracket and got an automatic bid to the finals. I think that had an influence on him, because if he would have done terrible, they would have won. Like, you want to know what? Who cares? He's going to do terrible. He isn't going to take any money away from me. But then they're like, you want to know what? He caught 100 pounds of fish in one day.
Yeah, he did.
And now he's getting an automatic bid to the finals. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's just look at this guy a little bit tougher. And you want to know what? Some of these guys are going to say, no, that had nothing to do with it. I bet you a majority of them would say that. But in all honesty, the back of their mind, some of these guys are probably going, you want to know what? He's going to take money out of my mouth. And you want to know what? This is a better opportunity for me to move up in points, move up in AOI stuff, possibly move up for classic stuff. Because quite honestly, missing this tournament is probably going to cost him going to the classic next year. And when you start looking at all that stuff, I kind of got a feeling that there's a little bit of shenanigans going on that we might not want to like to hear, but quite honestly, it's probably there. And you want to,
mm-hmm.
I think they're making a horrible mistake. I know this is just my opinion, but I think they're making a bad mistake. That's all.
Yeah. It is disappointing in that for the classic, we all love the classic. I want to see the very best anglers at the classic, and John Cox, without question, is one of the best elite anglers at the moment. So the fact that he's not gonna make it there is disappointing.
So sorry to interrupt. There was a rumor last year, and it was just a rumor, and it was from a very, very reliable person, that Bass was actually making a way for Rick Clunn to make the classic, even though he didn't remotely qualify. There was a group of people that wanted Rick Clunn to get an automatic bid because he was Rick Clunn, and that because his name is Rick Clunn, he brings more people out to watch the classic and watch all that stuff. Luckily, they didn't do it, but they were trying to make that happen.
Interesting.
And no offense to Rick Clunn, one of the greatest anglers of all time, just is not remotely in the AOI standings, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
And to make that, even that possibility, even talking about it, just makes the whole, why not do that for John? I mean, I'm saying this and strictly because John's a close friend. That's the God's honest truth.
Yeah. Yep.
I think this is a horrible mistake, and I can understand everybody else having a different opinion of mine, but I don't think John. I think that John adds something to the Classic only because there's so many people that like John Cox because of the way that he fishes and that his attitude. He's always smiling, and he's like his buddy Keith Carson. You'll never see Keith Carson without a smile on his face because those guys love fishing. And that the way that they act and that persona and that love and that enthusiasm makes them always happy. Even when they're not happy, they're always smiling because John Cox and Keith Carson are smiling because they're going, geez, I cannot believe I am doing this for a living. That's the truth.
Yep. Well, one last thing on this decision where BASS basically didn't make a decision until kind of last minute. The more you go tournament by tournament without saying anything about it, the more I'm sure John just assumes, well, they haven't said no. They haven't said no. They haven't said no. They haven't said no. And over time, silence really kind of, you start to assume it's permission.
Yeah.
And that's where I think they really messed up because why stay silent about it? This decision, if you're going to stick to the hard and fast rules, it could have easily been made at the very beginning and there'd have been no big issue then.
Yeah. Because what he's trying to do this year is just monumental. I mean, he's had to have, there's a whole thing about you can't use a different boat in certain places, and he's had to have people drive a boat overnight and go places. He's missing his family nonstop. I mean, when he told me he was doing this, I went and wrote down all of the places he was going and was like, you realize you're crossing over within if you do really well at this tournament, you have 6 hours to get to the next tournament. And
that is brutal.
And in some cases, he's driving overnight with a boat. And, a lot of times on these professional things, if you win the next day, they set up all their extra shots. You go extra fishing, you do all this stuff. He had to go, no, I can't do that. If I win, I can't go do this extra stuff. I need to get on the road and bust ass over to the next place.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Classic, he had, I want to say he had 12 or 14 hours where everyone else of getting on the water before everyone else, when everyone else had 2 or 3 days, because he was at a tournament. Mm-hmm. And at the time, the Classic wasn't scheduled to be at that time. And that even killed him even more. So, there's, like I said, I disagree, respectfully disagree, disqualifying him, but I think they made a bad mistake. That's just me.
Yep. I think you're in the minority compared based on a lot of comments I've seen, but I don't necessarily disagree. I think you can make an argument for either side pretty well, actually. But I do believe Bass could have handled it better for sure. This is a good comment by Hank Snow. In my opinion, Bass needs John more than John needs Bass, and that's probably true.
I mean, John was 18 months in a row. John was the number one angler in the world. 18 months. Nobody's ever had more. Now Wheeler is probably pretty close to that now, but 18 months consecutively, he was the best angler on the planet.
Yeah.
So,
well, at this point, it's a done deal. There's been plenty of times I've seen people disqualified. Like I still remember when Brandon Polinick got disqualified up there in Minnesota because they had if you were on one side of the state line, you were allowed to cull, and if you're on the other side, you couldn't. And he didn't realize he'd gone across. And I'm just like, golly, is that brutal or what?
And that cost him $100,000.
Yeah. It's not like he was actually winning that thing.
Yeah.
And I thought the way he handled that was just so top notch professional. I mean, he just sucked it up and said, "I broke the rule. I'm sorry."
I think Brandon's been disqualified twice.
Maybe he has. That's the only one I remember, and that was just like, wow,
maybe I'm wrong on that one.
Amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
I'll be honest. I agree. Rules are rules. It keeps everybody in line and check. But I think there's some gray areas. It's like the talking to other people. I think there's a drastic gray area with that one. I mean, I know. Guys
here's the problem with the rules. Rules are rules, but any of us that follow this sport can go back in history and identify when they broke the rules and said it was okay.
Yep.
So that's where, this is the other deal. Man, if your rules are rules, then stick to the rules all the time. That's just kind of adds to it. Listen, if I were John Cox, I would be totally PO'd. I would be so angry right now. But on the flip side, I can see the other side of it too. But
the crazy thing is, John isn't pissed.
Wow.
He really isn't.
That's awesome.
But I think at some point in time, he's going to look back at it. And when he needs to weigh his options, he's going to go, you want to know what they kind of, I think he felt like some of these anglers, he felt like he got backstabbed by them. I think that is maybe.
Yeah. And that really hurts for sure. The one thing I'm absolutely confident about, kind of what, like Hank Snow said, John Cox is going to be fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he decides to do. He is going to be just fine. So
he has, okay. He won't be mad. He has the single greatest pond you can ever fish in his backyard.
He does?
He does.
Wow.
There are no small fish in this pond.
Really?
And the reason why there's no small fish, the big fish have eaten all the small fish. And walking around his pond, it isn't you'll see 5 to 10 to 15 well over 10 pounds. They're absolute. He can get them to eat out of his hand with a live bluegill.
Really?
He can.
The other guy that's making a lot of noise about his pond is The Rock. Have you seen any of that? Any of his posts?
The Rock.
The Rock.
The steroid guy?
Yeah, the steroid guy. He is a bass fisherman. He has his own bass lake on his property, and he is now on social media catching fish and showing people.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's a dedicated bass fisherman. We ought to get him on the show. That would be cool. We need to invite The Rock on the show.
I know.
Yeah, he is one of us, man. He is a.
I don't know if he's ever one of us, but
hey, I'm putting him in the exact same category. We're like that.
I can tell you, when I look at him and I look at me, I question if I am in the same species as him.
Me too. You're right. Yeah, that's a Drew deal. You're gonna need to go look it up. Go look up The Rock on Instagram, Facebook. He's posting pictures of his pond and his bass.
Matthew says he caught a 6-pounder and it looked like a 3-pounder, laughing his butt off.
What's that like? Reverse steroids?
Yeah. Well, in John's case, John has caught big bass and brought them back. And this pond is, I'm not joking, it is flat out loaded with the biggest bass. There was a time years ago, and probably 5 or 6 years ago, John was guiding. So he would guide and he would take people to the St. John's, or he'd go all the way over here by my house to the Harris Channeling. So that's where we would take people fishing. There was a time when his pond was so good, he would put the back end of the boat at his house and let you fish off the back of his boat because the fishing was so good in his pond, and then charge you for it too. And not just a little bit, a lot.
Oh man.
That's how amazing the fishing was in his backyard.
Wow, that's something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Shout out, Johnny.
Okay.
Hot water, Johnny.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
In my Monster Bass multi-species box, I got a Patrick Sebile dart spin.
Yeah.
I know you're a Sebile
The 2.5
expert. Yeah. Okay. I think I've figured the answer out to this, but if you look at this package, it has a form molded thing in the center for a third one, but it only came with 2. And when I first got it, I thought, man, I've been ripped off. Somehow the third one's missing, but it apparently only comes with 2.
Hold on. I'm going out in my garage for a second. Hold on.
Yeah. Go out there because this mystery needs to be solved. I get this package. I'm trying to get a close to camera there, and you can see there's definitely this blister pack or whatever you call it is definitely shaped for a third lure, and it only came with 2. So what's up with that? This has got to be resolved. And I thought, man, I'm lucky here. I've got inside information. There's literally nobody on the planet other than Patrick Sebile himself that knows these baits better than Steve Chapman. So he's got to be able to answer this question for me.
So that is this size, correct?
Yeah, the 2.5 inch.
Oh no, that's this size.
It's tiny.
Has a hook already?
Yeah, it's already got a hook. It's already got a hook. Yeah.
So there should be only 2 per pack.
Okay, I thought so because when I went to Tackle Warehouse, it said it was a 2-pack. But look at the package.
Oh, you're right.
It's made for 3.
Hold on.
And this gives you the impression you've been ripped off.
Hold on. We'll.
It looks like a cool bait this size. I mean, this is, I think this would be a nice little panfish lure.
Oh God, that bait right there. Patrick caught 100-pound tarpon on.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Look how tiny that thing is. But it looks great. This is a good looking color too. So
we're gonna that bait. So here's the prototype. I don't know if you can see that prototype. It's all white.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot easier to see than mine.
Yeah, that one has a yellow tail.
Okay.
So here we go. Hey, dude.
That's what I think, Matthew. It looks like it'd smash the crappie.
I guess I need to turn off.
You're live on our podcast show, okay? Is that all right?
All right.
Say hi to Mr. Bass.
Hey.
What up, Patrick?
Okay. We have a question for you. I think I know the question. I know the answer. So the new 2.5-inch dart spin.
Yeah.
So the package looks like it comes in 2 per pack, but it looks like the package has 3. Are we going crazy or was something wrong?
So initially, when I was working on that lure, I was trying to see what was the best balance between the cost, and there's obviously the cost of the lure itself, there's the cost of the packaging, and that's why first, at some point, I was going to put 3 of them, and when we studied the cost more closely, that was bringing the whole thing a bit too expensive, but the factory have already produced, I don't know how many, 15,000 packs that have that clam of that shape for 3 bodies. So that's why for the moment it looks like that, because indeed it was made for 3. And so there's not one missing, just what it is until basically the factory will get rid of all the clamps, and then we will have a new one that have just the shape and the room for 2 baits at a time.
Okay. I appreciate that. We need to have you on this podcast here soon, but I know it. I'm sorry if I woke you up. I mean, how are you doing, by the way? Also,
I'm doing great.
Are you working now?
Yeah, I'm working. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll see you on Tuesday, right?
Sure.
Okay. I love you, man.
Love you too.
Later, bro. Thank you.
Hey, take care.
Bye.
Okay, so that question is answered, and I have not been ripped off. It's a packaging problem. They had 15,000 packages already made, so they're going to use them up, and then I'm sure they'll come up with a 2-pack package.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably on the works. I only thought it was 2 because, I mean, you can't see that whole box. That's my dart spin box.
Ah.
So in this case, like you'll hear it opening again. Sorry. There's most of mine are prototypes. I have a bunch of the new stuff, but a majority of the stuff are prototypes. I mean, even this one is a prototype because it's wrong. Even though it's colored. And then we got prototype jigs and just all sorts of stuff. I mean, this box is loaded. There's even probably some sizes that aren't even available yet.
I'd be curious to see, just kind of
here's one
casual question here for the guys watching the show. How many of you have fished with the dart spin, and what do you think of it? It was a new lure to me. I saw it in iCast. It was an iCast winner, the one with the prop or whatever. But I really didn't get any of these till I think you sent me some of them, or came in my Florida box or something, and so I still haven't fished with them yet.
So, and most people haven't probably used them, and so some back stuff here. Patrick and I have been friends for like 10 or 12 or 15 years. If you see any videos that are done with Patrick, I do them. I film them, I edit them, I do all of it. People don't really know that. And I also try to help as much as I can with anything that he kind of needs. I'm not really a pro staffer, even though I guess you could kind of say I'm a pro staffer. But in the case of that bait, there's a few really exceptional things that it does. First, having the pre-made slots on the bigger sizes that you don't have to go rig it in and do all that stuff makes it really good. But the way that some of the ways to fish it are, it's ridiculous. You'll never fish a lure like that in your life. You'll fish it like now I got to grab it again. Sorry. And we don't really go say this too much, but when I fish, I think I might have one already. No, I don't have one rigged. I can show you. I actually fish it, and I'll fish it with a weight down here and fish it on the tail so that when it flutters down, it flutters like this, and then I'll twitch it up.
Oh, okay.
And that will irritate the hell out of fish.
Interesting.
And because it has like this one, I can tell you this one definitely is a prototype, but you can see there's slots already pre-aligned for your jigs. So when you go to, like, this is a jig head with a thing, Patrick will say, as crazy as it sounds, you're supposed to lick it, put the hook inside where you already want it placed, so it's there.
Yeah. Pinch
the nose, and there's a slot in there already, even though mine just came out. This is a prototype. There's
I got you. I see what you're saying.
There's a slot.
You basically
already.
Texas rig it with pre-made
slots.
I
mean, in this case, there isn't. Like I said, this is a prototype. There's no hole up top. So most cases, there's a hole there. So you just push this through, and it automatically fits in like that, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then this thing, because the slots are in the back already there, you don't have to go through the plastic. So that's what makes the plastic live longer. Also, there's a hole in the back that you can put a rattle in if you really wanted to. And this stuff doesn't break. I mean, these are
super tough, super durable. Yeah, super durable.
And really, if you were to see some of the fish that Patrick and all of us catch on these before they're released, you would be shocked. I mean, I think he caught like a 42 pound permit. Just, I mean, again, I could be getting in a lot of trouble with Jim Salmons. On a kayak, you would be like, this is crazy that little thing would do it. But if you run it really slow, it's really buoyant to start off with. So if you work it really slow, it has a great wobble, and that thing on that blade on the back actually works like a paddle tail in some instances.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to give it. It takes a little bit of time to get used to how to fish it, but once you fish it right, it'll catch saltwater fish. It'll catch freshwater fish. It's really a fantastic lure. And really, when you start plugging it in and putting it on a trailer, like making it a trailer bait on this thing, this jig head. Oh, your life will change because
Sweet.
it is
that
good.
This week and
a
little bit of
So that's what Patrick made years ago. See how the bend is different?
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I am. I can't see myself.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
But you see how that bend of that hook is drastically different?
Yeah.
So then the fish's mouth is here, and it doesn't. It loses leverage. And he came up with this hook some 16 years ago.
Interesting.
He really is a genius.
He's a little crazy. Fishing with Gramps, that's what I got this in. This came in the Monster Bass multi-species box. I was super excited to see this in there because to me that's a good lure. And these are Elastec. They're not cheap. They're like $10 for a 2-pack.
Yeah, they're not.
Actually, this week and last week was all my subscription boxes came in. I had a few really awesome surprises. This was one of them, this Hyper Elastics deal. Another one in the Monster Bass or in the Mystery Tackle box. What's that?
That's another one.
Okay.
I have some of these for you.
I was going to say it. That's not the Booyah, is it?
No, that's the
Booyah swim jig.
The water bull. I mean, if you look at that head.
Oh, yeah.
See where you tie it in there?
Yeah, I do see it. Raise it up a little higher. There you go. Yeah.
So it doesn't have a point. You put it into the head itself.
Yeah.
And this does not get this will not get snagged. You cannot snag this. It's the only bait I've ever used where I have not gotten. I throw it into cover, into lily pads. If you feel like it's getting stuck, all you do is just shake and it pops out.
That's a super beefy double weed guard, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that hook is just stupid.
Yeah, that is a crazy looking hook. It's one of the things I like about the Jewel baits. They do something similar. They have the O'Shaughnessy bend hook, which really I think is a great hook style for jigs. I don't know why more jig makers don't use that bend. The thing I was absolutely most excited about, though, these past 2 weeks was this square bill crankbait that I got in my Mystery Tackle Box Pro Box. And there's a couple reasons. One is this is my absolute very favorite square bill crankbait. I got onto these a few years ago.
Which one is that?
Craft.
Oh, yeah.
By Lucky Craft. And it is I don't know if you can see it, the Fat CB BDS 2. And the 2, they quit making. And
why?
This thing, I don't know why they quit making it. They kept making the 3 and the 4, but the 2 they quit making. And these things were as much as $50 a piece on eBay. And I bought quite a few at high dollars. And I opened my Mystery Tackle box and I'm like, what the? You gotta be freaking kidding me. I was like, something's wrong here. I thought, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I opened it and somehow dropped one of these in accidentally. Because there's no way this can be in a monthly subscription box. It's impossible. But sure enough, this came in the box. And this is a cool color. It's called MS Japan Shad. I mean, if you look at the color,
yeah, that's badass.
It's sexy, man. It is a really, really cool looking color.
I have to give him.
notice the square bill is rounded. And you might think to yourself, well, that's stupid. A square bill should not be rounded, the actual bill itself. But you would be amazed at how this rounded bill deflects off of cover. It deflects as good as any square bill I've fished with. And the other key characteristic to the Fat CB is it's silent.
Oh,
no sound at all.
I like that.
And man, it is a fish catching machine. The only problem with these crankbaits is the hooks they put on them. The shank is way too long.
Yeah, I was just about to say that back one looks really wide.
So you've got to. I just put short shank hooks on them, and then they work fantastic. But what I've discovered, although I haven't got official word, is they must be bringing this back some, because you can find a couple of colors now on Tackle Warehouse. So I'm super pumped that it looks like this square bill's coming back into the market, because it is a fish catching. It's an awesome, awesome lure.
So I have to give Mystery Tackle Box some props, and I dislike giving them props because first, I don't get that box anymore, and I probably never will. But in somebody else's box, I think it was Moss Outdoors, Moss Fishing Adventures, or Moss, whatever his channel is, and I apologize. Shout out to him, by the way. They gave a Jabberjaw in the box for the MTB Elite. And
yeah.
While I know everyone has their take on the Axis. Yeah. I say Axis because that's how I'm from Michigan, but Axis, however you want to say it, versus the Jabberjaw. That Jabberjaw is an expensive bait and still kind of slightly still tough to get. And MTB actually has been putting, it's like maybe they've gotten a different person to purchase lures, or I don't know what's going on. But they've really seemed to step up their game in the last couple months of the videos that I've watched of people. And it makes me start to realize or start to reconsider not rejoining them. Unfortunately, though, if I rejoin them, I'm removing somebody else, and that one would be Monster Bass. And the reason I'm questioning myself for hours a day with Monster Bass is like, if you go to my channel, man, people really, really don't like anything that I put up Monster Bass. Not that they say dislike or whatever. Yeah. But if you read the comments, there's 40 or 50 or 60 comments of people like, I think this is junk. And I'll be honest, there's always something decent in the bag. But like the bag this month, and Rick commented about it, this thing says dive depth 2 to 4 feet. This is 8 to 12.
Yeah, that's a big bill, isn't it?
So it's kind of like one of those things that I'm like, why would you send this? And then he got all over me because I questioned if these Ned were overstock. But when I see them in 2 boxes the same month, and there's probably 40 or 50,000 subscribers to those 2 people, I got a feeling they are overstocked, even though he says they aren't.
I got those TRD craws in one of my boxes too. I don't know which one it was.
You got it in Bass Baits Monthly.
Oh, I got it in Bass Baits Monthly. Yeah, that's where I got it.
But I also got it in this, and then also they ditched me on the I didn't get one of the things in mine, and it just seems like I think I'm over the roller coaster at this point in time.
Dude, Lucky Craft, Jabberjaw. Oh my goodness, man. Those things are freaking amazing. I mean, that you're talking premium baits. And quite frankly, I'm not used to opening up a normal subscription box and finding a premium bait in it, unless I'm paying for a $70 Salt Creek tackle box or a $100 bento box. I'm not expecting that. And
didn't you get like a great swim bait? Didn't you get a JDM swim bait in your FTC box?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
Well, see,
by the
I
way,
mean,
I'm completely telling Vic that I'm pissed off.
FTC is pretty awesome, man. They got some really
I
good
saw
stuff.
your unboxing, and you got that swim bait, and I texted him saying, "What in the
Hey.
hell is going on here? We're friends, man."
Hey, it's you got to admit, Florida Tackle is personalization at its best, man. I don't know how he does it, and if he really starts to get a huge following, I don't know how he'll ever be able to keep that up.
He gets a huge following, we're in trouble. We're screwed.
Yeah, we are in trouble. We shouldn't be talking him up. We should be talking, that guy's so terrible. You don't want to try that. You don't want to try that at all.
So I did my unboxing. Eric got that swim bait also. Well, screw you, Eric. I'm joking, of course. So I talked to him on, well, I don't even know when the video, now I got to go look. I think the video came out Saturday. So he texted me Sunday saying, he got like 8 or 10 people that all referenced me on Sunday that they wanted to buy the FTC box. They wanted the same thing I did. And I thought, it's really great that people, are supporting it, even though we don't make any money on that deal.
Yeah.
I'm just
right.
Vic is a good guy, and I want to see him succeed. But then I texted him. I said, next time you put a swim bait in Mr. Bass's box and one isn't in mine, cancel my order.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is a beautiful thing.
And he knew I was joking, because he and I are planning on doing some fishing here soon. In the next,
let me show you a cool little thing that came in my Jewel in the fish tool, the Jewel Baits fish tools. Did you see this? Pee-wee football jigs.
I did.
This is new to me. I don't know how long they've been making these things, but dude, when you crack them open, they are tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically a finesse football jig, but this thing is 7/16 of an ounce. It's almost a half an ounce. And this is that hook I was telling you, the O'Shaughnessy bend hook. See, it's it's kind of the same thing. It will, when they bite it, man, you do not lose many fish on these Jewel jigs. But I'm pretty excited. I'd never seen the Pee-wee. I'm going to try the Pee-wee soon.
Do you do a lot of jig fishing?
Yeah, I like to jig fish. Yeah, I like to jig fish.
I'm not. I got some stuff from Hank Snow Outdoors. Shout out to him. He sent me. He has some great. I have him in here. I've been doing a closer look of his stuff. They're in my box over here. He made some hand, like hair jigs that are just they're really top notch. And I think he's gonna try to sell them for like $4 or $5. He's gonna undersell them what they're worth. But it's you're just like, this is. I don't do enough of it, but then the other day I got those water bowls I got from Patrick. We've been working on those for 2 years. That's the truth. Yeah. At first, if you look at them, I'll pull one out. See if I can find the black and blue one, because that'll be the easiest one to see. So if you look at first, when they first started doing them there was, how many of the we put on. And how thick are they? And then they work backwards and they work forwards, and the head of the jig itself. And there were so many like prototypes of this for this to come out. It took 2 years for this to get to where it gets to Patrick's, what Patrick thinks is the best way. And it isn't just like 1 or 2 people get these. We get them and we go fish with them and we tell them what's going on, what we're seeing. Not to mention David and Patrick fished with them. I mean, we went fishing one day. This is all we used. And we just were like, we had like 10 different versions of it. And it was mind boggling, because we were like, at one point there were too many bristles and we weren't hooking any fish. So we would cut them off and go, okay, we cut out 6, and then we cut too many off, and we were snagging.
Yeah.
So the work
I think some guys don't realize that.
Yeah.
That you can really stiffen up your jig by cutting some of the strands out. You would think that would do the opposite, but Speaking of jigs, did I tell you about the jig box I sent to one of my viewers, and then the post office screwed it up? They damaged the box, and then they all disappeared. I sent him 25 jigs, and the box shows up. There's 8 jigs in the box. It's all torn open. Crazy. I mean, golly, I don't want to get on the post office sucks rant here because but in any case,
because then everything will stop showing up at your house.
Yeah. I went ahead and gave him some replacements, and he sent me a picture today, and they showed up, and he's all good to go now.
Oh, nice.
But, geez, man, the post office is so frustrating lately.
I got all but 8 packages sent out for the 6,000.
Nice.
I wanted all of them at one time, and I've had there's 7 boxes over there. People didn't email me, so I'm gonna go back and find 7 more people and give them those. And really, 3 of them are the best ones of all things. There's 2 months of monster bass and mystery tackle box of all things over there in one box. So someone's gonna get some good stuff, and that's all right. And you can actually see right there. Hold on, that's.
You broke up there. That what?
That right there is lures.
All lures?
Yeah.
Jeez. Booster C's. He's volunteering.
I gave last time I saw Booster. Oh, not last time. One of the times Booster came over, I gave him a rod.
Really? Nice.
I was like, you need to take this one home with you.
That is sweet.
Actually, I'll hold on.
Cool. Uh-oh, he's digging in the box.
Oh, no, there's one special box.
Oh.
Hold on. See if I can get it to work.
Oh, man.
Look at this little...
Tackle Webs Whiteout Party VIP.
Yep.
Dude.
And I got the lanyards.
Sweet.
This is the Tackle Webs. This is the party everyone wants to get invited to.
Nice. Well, you'll have to tell us all about that.
Yeah, this is 2 years in the making.
Really?
Yeah. Last year we had a so Mike is the owner of Tackle Webs, and starting next week they're all black, but now they're. I think I might have showed this. Oh, here's a box from Patrick.
You showed us white ones, I think.
Yeah, this is them. So we need we have a party at the Ice Bar in Orlando for the night, Wednesday, the 21st. And what we're going to do is there's media that shows up and votes for Mike's Tackle Webs at ICAST. We'll get a 30 liter backpack water pack. We'll get lures, and they'll get a VIP pass to go to the party for free drinks, free food, and all sorts of stuff. So
that sounds awesome.
It should be hopefully the people vote for him, because we'd really like to have that. As crazy as it sounds, we'd really like to have that sticker that says best to show, and start putting it on all the bags. And that's what we're going to do. So I've got 125 VIP passes I'm going to pass out during, whoever shows us that they voted for us will get one.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah. Should be
really cool.
Be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun, because next week is like one of those weeks that is, while it's a lot of fun to go out and see and meet and do all this stuff, it's a long 3 days. In my case, it'll be 4 to 5 days, because I'm going to get out there I'll be out there Monday setting up with Mike, and then Tuesday is the start of. I actually have not an interview. I'm going to a press release for Busby Fishing. They make they make tackle
boxes.
Yeah,
they make some awesome tackle boxes.
they invited me to their press conference, so I'm going to go there on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I'm going to see my good friend Guy Harvey, and we're going to do some interview stuff, and then the week starts. I've got Pure Fishing and Boat Boards and Shimano and all those people. I got to spend an hour every day at Patrick's booth just showing people the new jigs, and then some of the stuff I showed you guys a couple weeks ago. The new loader crank and the loader minnow. I'll be out hopefully.
That's great. That's
So
exciting.
it'll be a fun week, but at the same time it'll be somewhat a nightmare. But that's all right.
Yeah. Hey, pressure's good. Pressure's good.
Well, we started talking about John Cox.
Yeah, we did.
And in the process, there's been someone just said they won one of the things. Okay, sorry, Roger. I just got your email. One of the things that is another rumor is, and who knows if this rumor is true. I should say I heard the rumor from 4 people. And
cracking open the rumor mill.
The 4 people are not remotely associated with each other. And so the rumor is, and I should mention, it always seems to happen during iCast. That's the truth. I hear this every iCast. 3 years ago, I heard about Major League Fishing 4 years ago, I heard about Major League Fishing starting their tournament at iCast. Then it happened. Then a couple of years ago at the Classic, and then at iCast, I confronted Boyd and said, "Are you buying FLW?" He couldn't really say yes, but he did answer some other questions that led me to believe that that process was a process that Major League Fishing was starting to do. Now we come to 2021, the year after COVID. The rumor mill is stirring that Major League Fishing could possibly buy Bass again.
Holy cow. That is a crazy rumor. So Major League Fishing buying Bass. Holy cow.
Now, if you know the back end of it, Boyd tried to buy Bass 3 times before starting Major League Fishing. I know that for a fact. Boyd told me that personally. Couldn't work it out. I mean, some of the guys that own stock in Bass just are owed too much money for that to happen. Here we are 3 or 4 years down the road. Major League Fishing's ratings on TV are better than Bass, from what I can tell. And yes, Trait Zaldane posted on her site it was absolutely a false rumor, which makes me believe that it is true. Now, it's just a rumor. But what if, this is my question to you, Mr. Bass. What if Major League Fishing and Bass coordinate and do it?
That would blow my mind. I'm telling you, when Major League Fishing, kind of created their own thing, I was apprehensive. I was, what's going to happen? Is Bass going to survive? Are they not? And they've clearly survived.
Yes.
Then Major League Fishing buys FLW. And to me, I was very disappointed with that move. I did not think that was good for the sport of professional bass fishing. I really was hoping that they all 3 could somehow coexist together. Now, I know when you talk about sponsorship dollars, I mean, the pool's not enormously large to spread amongst that many circuits. And then NPFL shows up. So now in retrospect, I think Major League Fishing buying FLW was probably one of the best things that could have happened for the sport ultimately. And to their credit, they've done a pretty good job of maintaining a lot of the, the BFLs and all the things that made FLW kind of unique. They've done a pretty good job of that. So, and we all know, we've talked about this. Boyd Duckett is a heck of a businessman. He knows how to succeed. If he were to buy bass, he would figure out a way to make Major League Fishing even better. I have no doubt about that. So I would say it's probably in good hands, but it would still just blow my mind if BASS, because here's one thing that would just really bug me. If they totally swallowed BASS and BAS just kind of disappears, and the next thing you have the Major League Fishing, the BPT Classic. Oh my gosh, man! Geez, there are many pro anglers that would be rolling over in their graves, that have gone on to the other side.
Yep.
If something like that were to happen, the BPT Classic. Oh my goodness! So I mean, this is incredibly fun stuff to talk about, just because the possibilities.
Yes.
I mean. The firestorm it would create. I mean, we still all remember the firestorm when those 70, 80 guys walked out of Bass and whatnot. I mean, that was just, I'd never seen anything like it. This would be on a level significant to that, similar to that would just, holy moly.
So, most of a lot of guys weren't asked to go to Major League Fishing. I mean, some of them were. I know Zaldane, and I know some of the guys were asked to go to Major League Fishing, but a lot of guys weren't, because they just didn't, maybe they pissed off somebody at some point over MLF, and they just didn't feel like they should be included. But the possibility of it, I mean, from a fan standpoint, just a fan, having all of them together would be great, because we wouldn't have all this. We wouldn't have as much rivalry and as much smack talk as it goes on. Having said that, it would be a horrible thing for Brandon Palaniuk and Hackney and all these guys who left Major League Fishing to go to the elites.
Yeah.
And then be under one umbrella. There is
the other thing.
Go ahead.
Here's another question. What do you think about, all right, let's say you had one pro elite circuit, only one, really. All right, whatever you want to call it. You call it the BBTs or the BBT elites or whatever you want to call it. Well, how many anglers can you plug into that before it just becomes saturated and boring? One of the interesting things I think is that when you have a field of 100 anglers or less, there's just a lot more. Yeah, I think it's much more interesting. You get to know the anglers much more from top to bottom. I think there's more parity there, so that there's a greater chance for guys to be consistent and to get up there and compete. If you got 300, 400, I mean, there's no way they could. I don't see how they could do that. They would still have to keep it limited to probably 200 anglers or less. And
well, if they did that, they couldn't do it, because they'd never be able to have enough marshals to start off with. If that ever happens, they're going to go to the format of Major League Fishing. They're not going to be 5 fish across the stage. Right. They'd have to figure something out, but there would be tiers like they have in Major League.
Yeah,
Fishing.
there would be kind of the opens
BPT and the pro circuit. And really, honestly, the pro circuits just are those guys are great as just as good as anglers, but they don't have the name that the BPT has.
Exactly.
I mean, it's great to speculate and have fun about it, but in all honesty, the rumor, if the rumor just happens to be true, which I can promise you there are a lot of anglers that don't want that to happen. It would be catastrophic, and it might be catastrophic for the industry. The problem that we have right now for the industry is they're really, as these companies that have made so much money during the COVID times are not spending as much money on anglers and doing the stuff they need to do, because they realize they don't need to do it, or the anglers don't make up that much money coming back. So there's not that pool of money, it isn't as wide open as it used to be, where anglers were making a lot of money on sponsorships. That money has drastically dropped over the last few years, in my opinion, because I know
Well,
seeing it from how much we pay people.
Randy Blockett just put a video up a week or two ago that basically talked about the subject line was something like why you should not consider a career as a professional bass fisherman. And then for like 20 minutes, he talks about how horrible it is. I mean, he did try to seem, somewhat neutral, but he was like, man, there's so many guys starving, as professional anglers, and they're and in debt up to their ears, and and he said, plus the travel is just absolutely brutal.
Yes,
if you're trying to have a family and kids and all that stuff, it's just brutal.
The top people are making the top money, and everyone else is just barely getting by. That's the whole thing.
It's the old 80-20 rule, what they call the Pareto principle. 20% of the movers and shakers take all the money. Basically, that's it.
Booster said the YouTubers making the ad bucks more than the pro anglers. Booster, this is gonna burst your bubble, but as a YouTuber person, we don't make that much money.
That's for sure.
That is
for sure.
Just in videos, views alone, unless you're crushing the views like Flair, who's shoo and doing his crap every time and feeding his animals every time he's on a thing. Those are the only people that are making a lot of money, and a lot of their stuff is really based on how much product they're selling too. I know I could go into it for me, but I mean, when I look at how many hours I've spent now, it doesn't take me as long to edit videos as it used to. I'm not saying that.
You are fast.
Yeah. A year ago, I was spending 3 or 4 hours to do a closer look, which is less than 5 minutes. And that would be videoing it, editing it down, finding the right music. As crazy as it sounds, making sure every time there's a beat of a music that the changes either the picture or whatever it is. And those videos probably got $10 in ad revenue. So when you look at that for my 4 or 5 hours, I was making $2.
Yeah.
That sucks. And that's really how it is. Unless you do something that are completely that goes viral or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
well, there's no doubt that YouTubers, bass fishing YouTubers, are chipping away at the sponsorship money.
Yes.
But as a whole, the pros are getting way more of it than the YouTubers at this point. But they're a force to be reckoned with. They're definitely making, they're definitely getting noticed by companies, and smart tackle companies can't ignore the YouTubers because, tell you quite frankly, there's a whole lot more people paying attention to certain YouTubers than they are paying attention to certain pro fishermen.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked about this. I know that people watch some of the stuff that I do, and I try to be as honest and open and upfront as possible. And with the closer looks, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything, but if you like something that's on one of those closer looks, this is a way to see what the bait looks like in action, and then you can go purchase it. Or like the subscription tackle boxes, you and I both give our honest feel on the boxes. We're not sponsored. Yeah. I saw, and I mean, no disrespect to Shield, I saw his video tonight that said this was the best. The Monster Bass was the best box he's ever received in 2021. And I thought to myself, I've got to watch this video. He got something better than I did. And then I got to
who was that? Who did that?
Shield Outdoors, I think his name is.
Oh, okay.
And then he's got a Monster Bass hat on, a Monster Bass shirt on, and a Monster Bass patch. I went, oh, well, you hook, line, and sinkered me on that one. You clickbaited me for sure. But if you're sponsored by those guys and they're giving you free stuff all the time, then you have to say, I mean, you'll never hear me say anything remotely bad about Tackle Webs or Shimano or the people that are
right.
But I don't try, in my case, I don't try to blast it down your throat and say, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, No. If you thought that that Monster Bass was the best box of 2021, you've never looked at a Florida tackle box, or you didn't look at this month's mystery tackle box at all. Because even Bass Baits, in my opinion, I think Bass Baits Monthly is better than Monster Bass right now.
Bass Baits Monthly is kind of off the charts at the moment.
Yes.
Everything in their box is like quality name brand stuff. I kind of agree with you. You know, I try to look at it from the perspective of the person buying the product, and I try to ask myself, you know, if I were in their shoes and wanting an opinion, I would want an honest opinion as best I could get. The other thing too is, if you start lying to support a company because they're, you know, paying you, then the reality is, if you're going to lie about that, you're going to lie about other things too. And your viewers are going to figure that out.
Yep.
And I don't want to be known as a liar. You know, I mean, I just don't. So
reputation's a big thing. It's a hard thing to get back.
It is a very big thing. And I would rather lose a relationship with a company than I would deceive my viewers, quite frankly.
I've had people ask me to be, you know, part of their team for subscription tackle boxes. I haven't done one yet. And it's not a negative thing against anybody, but, you know, I think if there was ever one that I would say, yes, I'm all in on, it would only be Florida Tackle Club. And Jim said he really feels No Redemption Outdoors is a real honest guy too. Yeah, shout out No Redemption Outdoors. He's very honest, and actually have had a humongous conversation about where do we go with subscription tackle boxes just in the last week, because there's a lot of people that do it. How do you differentiate yourself from everybody else? But at the same time, it does get, I mean, you know, it gets views, and that's what we're trying to do and build a brand. But at what point do we just go, okay, I can only have so much on the tackle wall, and really you get burned every month by certain ones that you go, okay, I just can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah. And you're right. There's definitely some, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. It's a tough thing, you know, having a YouTube channel. I mean, you know this, having a YouTube channel is great in some instances, because you can get your, you know, the passion that we have for the outdoors is that's why we do it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's a very, very slow process to get to where you're not only are you making money on doing it, but not being discouraged. Because you and I talked about this lately. I've been fishing. I'm not taking a camera with me lately. I need to have that break away from, you know, trying to do something for the channel every time I go someplace.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm not even sure people want to watch every time I go fishing either. That I'm like, cause I'm not this is not a good looking person. So it's like one of those things where I'm just like, I love the response from everybody. And I actually enjoy the comments and talking to people. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I have no problem if someone says to me, hey, I'd love to talk to you voice. I'll send you my phone number and you want to talk. I don't care. But you know, it's one of those things where you take the good with the bad. There's some great things with doing this stuff, but there's also, man, sometimes I'm just like, okay, well,
I hear you.
I need a break.
No doubt about it.
Like I'm looking, the only thing right now I'm looking, because I can't wait to see your Alaska videos. That's the God's honest truth. I'm going to live my life through you.
Yeah. I got to get those up. I mean, I'm the same way. I've been doing a bunch of unboxing videos instead of doing Alaska videos. I'd much rather do Alaska videos, but an unboxing video only has a very short shelf life, and then you got to get it out there.
Yeah. So. Okay, so we covered the rumor. Let's hope. I guess we both can agree. Let's hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer it not happen.
Well, you want to
Speaking
know
of
what?
speaking of the, and we're kind of on the subject. What do you think of the NPFL's chances long term?
Uh, from a boy, you're gonna get me on this one.
Well, I'm just kind of curious because I don't know. I mean, I just I don't know yet, and
I mean,
I know there's some great guys over there fishing in that circuit that really want it to succeed, and I don't want it not to succeed. I just am kind of wondering if it will.
I mean, I've asked a lot of people this question, and a majority of them don't think it will succeed. But I don't. I think there's a place for them.
Yeah,
I think when you meet like Brad and Al, and you see their, and I forgot his name. I don't know the last owner's name, and his wife, who's just one of the most beautiful people in the world. Not his wife, he is. He's just a magnificent dude. That group is with Luke and Fat Cat and David. They're committed to making it work. They're committed. And when I covered them here at the Harris Chain, I was overly critical about the first tournament that they had. I didn't think it went well at all. And here they came down to Harris Chain. I think it was their second tournament or second or third tournament, and getting to see behind the scenes and all of the things that all those guys do to make it work. I want to see him. I really want to see him succeed.
Yeah.
However, I think it's really hard the first couple years are going to be exceptionally hard for them to do well until they can get these guys' names out. I mean, right now there's only been 2 winners out of 3 tournaments. The SoCup won 2, and Keith Carson won the 3rd, or in there. So those 2 guys have gotten the most recognition.
The other thing is, I feel like I follow professional fishing pretty close, much more so than the average person, I'd say. And I can't really tell you who's fishing over there. I know the random 1 or 2 people like you mentioned, but I really don't know. I mean, and what that means is I'm really just not paying that much attention to it.
So I'm right there with you. I went and covered it. I thought they did a very good job. I thought that I think that Luke is doing a good job. I think Fat Cat is exceptional. By the way, the little
I think Fat Cat's pretty darn funny.
Bernard's hilarious. I think the first year it's going to be hard for us to know any of the guys. I think after year 1, I think it'll be maybe a little bit. They need to do more stuff to get more people to know about them. There was nobody out there. There was no media has really covered it. This is the best, by the way.
Nigerian Professional Football League. Oh man!
And they don't have they have. They're going to work if they get the sponsorship. They're not on. I think some of the flaws of it is they're not on a television station at all. Where at least Bass is with Fox at some point. I think in my opinion, the Fox thing has been a disaster. I wouldn't have went with Fox. I would have stuck with ESPN, but I know it's all about the cheddar, so they weren't going to do it. The thing with Major League Fishing, when they get on the Discovery Channel and they get on CBS, the Real Channel, and all these other things, Major League Fishing is promoting the sponsors as well as those anglers, and that has a huge deal with it. But I do want to see them succeed. I've sent them tons of ideas. Not tons. I've given them my opinion on certain things, and hopefully they can use them. And I've offered my help to cover them as much as I can, if possible. And even though it might only be a few hundred views, but it's at least something better than nothing.
I think they've got to get past a brand recognition window that's going to take several years, I think, before people really start noticing them. I think Luke Duncan's helping because he's probably he's probably the most recognizable social media personality on the circuit now. Be my guess. There might be somebody I'm
No,
not
Lunkers TV is definitely the
Lunkers. Yeah, Lunkers. Well, Lunkers has got to be helping it as well. And
I mean, they only have 1,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel.
like him or hate him,
Yeah, like them or hate them.
it's got to give some attention to the circuit. That's interesting. This is a good question. Do you think kayak tournaments are going to become more popular to the point where they'll be covered like boatfish? I don't know about that, but they're definitely going to get more popular. One of the reasons I know that is they get more popular every year. There's 3 major circuits right now: KBF, Hobie, and BASS. And Mike Iaconelli is really going all in on the Hobie series. He's sponsored by Hobie. He's actually competing in the tournaments. He's starting to post results and some of his fishing stuff while he's fishing in the Hobie tournaments. That's going to get noticed. And there's a lower level of entry on those tournaments, and I think more people it's going to get some interest. Will it ever be the BASS or the no, probably not. But it's definitely going to continue to grow in popularity.
You want to know the kayak fishing stuff does? It makes the recreational angler, it gives them that opportunity to fish in a tournament against better people or the same quality of people, and it lets you have that burn that fire of competition. The thing that kayak fishing, because saltwater kayak fishing has been for 20 years, saltwater kayak fishing is going on down here. The problem that they have is the payouts are never that big, and because the payouts aren't big, it doesn't attract the sponsorships or the people to get involved in it. And until you can get to that level where the payouts are really high, like in the elites or even, I really don't think the MPFL has a high enough, reach for payout. But until you can get to that 50,000 plus for first place, you're kind of always just hoping that there's enough people in the thing. It's like the Redfish Cup. Redfish Cup is a great cup, and some of the best anglers in the world. In fact, 2 guys that are with Power Pole that don't fish anymore, brothers, the Watt brothers, are 2 of the best anglers I've ever seen in my life. But the Redfish Cup couldn't make it because the payouts weren't that good either, and then there was a stigma of people cheating, and that hurt them, and all sorts of stuff. But it's
the highest paying kayak tournament has been $20,000 for first place, but there's only one of those. Only one of those.
Is that KBF?
It's their championship tournament at the end of the year. If I remember right.
A couple years ago, when I saw what is that guy's name that runs that one? He has the television show.
Chad Hoover.
Yeah. Chad was saying that he was hoping to have $100,000 for first place. So obviously that didn't happen.
Well, they did like this. They did do like this super tournament thing a while back that had some crazy, kind of like if you ever follow those big bass tournaments that go around the country, and they have like $100,000 prize for the winner of the biggest bass during the 2-day weekend deal. I think it was more along those lines. But it's definitely not a regular $100,000 tournament is an anomaly. But I will say the top anglers in those circuits, they fish all the circuits together. There's Jody Queen, Christine Fisher. There's quite a few of them out there. Those guys and gals that come in the top 10, they are excellent anglers. I mean, they are very, very good anglers.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of entertaining to watch, actually.
Yeah.
Not that you can watch it, but you can follow what's going on, and then you can watch their YouTube videos and stuff after the fact, and it's pretty good. It's pretty fun to watch.
I should be a kayak fisherman here in the next 10 days.
Right on. That's what I like hearing. Cool. Perfect.
What is the best way to become a co-angler, Jim Collins?
Just go pay your money.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. But if you've never done it and you just want to dip your toe into it, go sign up for a BFL as a co-angler. It only costs like $100. It's a 1-day deal, usually a Saturday. And that's the best way to kind of put your toe in the water and learn. The only other thing that might be better is join a bass club, like a Bassmaster Bass Club.
Bass Nation.
And yeah, part of the Bass Nation. And you can find clubs where they do co-anglers, and those tournaments don't even cost that much. It'd be like a $40, $50, $60 tournament. That's the best way to kind of dip your toe in and check it out.
And you'll learn a lot.
You absolutely will.
Somebody said Little B said, I have no desire to fish in tournaments. That's the same way with me. I'm scared if I fish in a tournament, because I'm unbelievably competitive as is, that I will hate fishing. And so that's why I've never fished in them. And that's why I've never, like, I had an opportunity to be a fishing guide at one point in time. And I thought, oh, this will be a great way to do it. I'll be able to live my life through all these people. And then I took my pastor fishing, and I was so freaking mad with him at the front of the boat that I'm just like, okay, I'll never, I mean, this is the God's honest truth. He won't mind me telling me this. I used to have a waterman, a 16-foot waterman from Gordon Boatworks, floated in 3 inches of water, about 450 pounds. Probably one of the best boats ever. I mean, ever. And we would be at service, and he would be doing his stuff, and he kept on talking about fishing, and I'm like, he must really like fishing. And then I realized he was a fan of the radio show, and he was kind of playing towards me. But so then I go in one day, and I said, you should come fishing with me. And he said, you want to? I would really like to go fishing and sit on the front of the boat, fish, and then write my sermon. I'm like, I'm in. I am in. I take him fishing. We get on the boat. We get on the salt water on this flat. I am talking from here to the moon. If you've never seen a redfish tail, their mouth is on the bottom of their face, and they'll dig their face down, and their tail will come up and just kind of like do one of these bits, and then kind of slowly go down. So when you're stalking these fish, you look for those tails. As far as the eye could see, tails everywhere on this flat.
Holy cow.
Now I'm pulling the boat on my pulling platform and trying to be as quiet as possible, barely moving, and I keep going, Pastor Nathan, they're right in front of us. And he's this week we're going to talk about this and this, and I'm like, so now I'm like shaking. I'm like, stand up for me, please. Doesn't want. He keeps writing down. He's.
What's he been? What's the writing about? What was that about?
He's writing the sermon for the week.
Oh,
finally, he finishes. As soon it takes him like 45 minutes to finish. I mean, they were everywhere. By this time, the sun comes completely up. They can see us from half a mile away.
Jeez.
Nothing at all.
Oh my goodness!
Started the boat and drove back to the boat ramp. I'm like, we're done. We missed everything we could have done, and it's great. It was horrible. There's a story. I don't mind. It isn't my story. So there's a guide in the Bahamas called Eagle Eye. He's a black man, and he tells one of the most amazing stories about oh my God, Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King comes down to the Bahamas, and he wants to go bone fishing, and he gets on Eagle Eye's boat, and Eagle Eye is pulling him down with a stick as a push pole. And Martin Luther King is out there, and he's writing his "I Got a Dream" speech while he's fishing with Eagle Eye, and he goes over it with Eagle Eye while he's on the boat, catches a couple bonefish. They go in. Eagle Eye has no idea what he's listened to or what he heard. A couple days later, he does that speech, and Eagle Eye says that it's one of the most, iconic things of all time. But here he is on the boat with Martin Luther King, and he is right. He's doing the same thing as my pastor, writing that speech while fishing.
That is an amazing story. Wow.
Yeah. It's awesome. This man is, You've never seen someone who can see a bonefish from further away. I mean,
Really?
He will tell there's a bonefish 200 yards away coming from your left to the right. You need to cast at 1 o'clock exactly when I tell you, and you're just like, where's this fish? And you're doing one of these bits, and you're tilting your head because you're not sure your polarized sunglasses are polarized correctly, and you're doing this. And you cast where he tells you to, and you thump a 7, 8, 10 pound bonefish that just screams bloody murder. It's awesome. One of the best guides in the world.
Wow, that sounds like a blast. Yeah, so I am going to be fishing some tournaments coming up. I'm going to fish the Major League Fishing Opens series. I can't remember what they call it. They called it. Is it tackle? It's the Toyota. I don't know what it is.
The Toyota series.
Toyota series. Yeah, the Toyota series. I'm fishing as a co-angler. The Toyota series up at the St. Lawrence River.
Oh, that'll be great.
I love the St. Lawrence River.
Did you buy a flogger?
Yeah, I need to do that. Except we shouldn't be there during the spawn, so we should be all right. I went back and watched Jacob this week though with his flogger. Man, the dude, it is amazing how he can hold that flogger in one hand and stick the fish with the other. Boy, he's got it down.
There's some coordination to that.
So I'm going to be fishing the Toyota series, and I'm also got a couple of kayak tournaments. I'm going to be fishing the BASS kayak tournament up in Wisconsin, and I'm signed up for the one on the Chesapeake Bay. I don't know if I'm going to do that one or not.
How much is it to join them?
It's $250 for the BASS tournaments.
Okay.
If you want to fish co-angler on the open side, whether you do the BASS or the Major League Fishing, they're around $500 to $600.
Wow.
To fish those. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I Googled a bonefish to see what it looks like, and I got a local restaurant. And I should say the bonefish restaurants are good places to eat.
Yeah, it is pretty good. I've eaten there before.
Mario says, have you guys seen the new Berkeley Gilly? I have seen the new Berkeley Gilly, and it is it's got a heavy there's another bait that I did. I don't even know the name of it. I did a closer look on it. Hardest bait to ever rig, but it has a lot of resemblance to that JDM lure. I don't even know the name of it right now, but if it swims as good as the one that I have that costs like $35, well, that Gilly is going to be fire, because the one I did was one of the best soft plastic baits I've ever seen swim in the water. Now I'm going to YouTube.
I've seen Ike and Ellie do a deal on it. It does looks pretty sick. Gonna have to try it for sure.
I'm trying to see if I have what the one I'm looking for, the closer look.
Yeah, Booster. He Wheeler was on his knees. He was wearing knee pads, and you saw him after he won. He walked off the boat and took his knee pads off. And I was like, dude, that dude's prepared down to, everything. I mean, he was just determined he was going to win that thing. The last day, I mean, he knew he had it.
Yeah, and that was really great to watch. That was one of the most fun.
It was a
tournaments
beat down
I've ever seen. Yeah, it was as good as anything I've seen in a long, long time.
I'm amazed at his confidence. I really am. His confidence is off the charts.
He just seems to not make many mistakes. That's the thing I realize about Jacob. He doesn't. Yeah. Where everyone will do something wrong, Jacob doesn't make those mistakes anymore. Everything seems to be exactly the way he plans it out, and he just is exceptional as an angler.
He really is.
It's scary how good of a fisherman he is.
I know. It's just amazing to watch.
It really is amazing to watch. There's quite a few times I've actually watched it and been like, I'm not in the realm of, I'll never be at that good of an angler for my whole life.
Yeah, right.
That he
Me
is.
neither. Yep, I get it.
And
it's true.
And that sucks.
The amount of time that he puts in, to hone his craft, though. It's just off the charts.
Yeah, he really is
Crazy.
He is a step above a majority of the anglers. So
yeah, it is. It's amazing just how much practice and training and research and study and just like the flogger thing, man, the dude was totally prepared. And here you have a ton of guys on the circuit that are totally blindsided by the whole flogger. They didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, you guys are professionals. You know what time of year you're up there. You know that dudes who fish for smallies with the spawn use a flogger. It's interesting.
So I found it. The one that's that Gilly is kind of like, if you look up the Imagatsu Javelin Gill soft plastic. Now it doesn't have that bait is one of the greatest swim baits I've ever seen in my life. Insane, impossible to rig if you look at it for the first time. It is you don't rig it top to bottom, you rig it sideways, so the bait is like this. Like this, and I can say thank you to, and you rig it here, and the hook comes here.
Yeah.
This isn't the bait. Gotcha. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, and that bait was expensive, by the way. That Imagatsu Javelin Gill, that bait was, I want to say it was like $30 for a couple. Plastic.
Speaking of AOY, has the Llama won on BASS? I mean, is it a done deal for him?
Seth?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can catch him. I mean, he would have to just completely, he would have to come in dead last.
And he's going to in the last tournament's a Northern Fishery. I mean, it's like his wheelhouse.
Yeah, he's really good. He jumped so many spots in that last tournament to finish third or fourth. Seth is having one of those years that you just look back and go, yeah, he's crushing it in so many ways. And really he deserves it because he's a really great angler, good for the sport, usually is pretty active. And after the first couple tournaments this year, we were all going, Hackney's winning this thing. He's winning it wire to wire. And then, Jason did well, and Palaniuk has had another fantastic year. He'll probably finish in the top 5 again, which is sickening 2 years in a row coming back. But Seth is just he's on a different wave. He's on a different path than anybody else right now. And it's really fun to see.
Yeah. This is kind of a fun question. Jim asked me who my favorite angler to co-angle with is. And believe it or not, his name is T. Roy Broussard. And he was part of that Swamp People show.
Oh, yeah.
And
I interviewed them on the radio show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I actually got to fish with him as a co-angler in his home water, his home lake. Amazing, down there in Texas. And the dude was here he was winning the tournament, and he took out time to show me how he was fishing a certain technique and told me how to do it. He loaned me one of his rods and he was just amazing to fish with, just a really, really good guy. And I've had quite a few guys like that. I've had some jerkwads too that I've had to fish with, but T. Roy by far a very, very selfless guy who I think the world of that guy. In fact, I want to have him on the show. I'm pretty sure I can get him on here, and we ought to have him. He'll probably want to talk about gators more than he does fishing, but because he is an avid gator hunter.
Did you see Jim said Seth has to finish in the top 55 to beat Patrick Walters?
Wow. Yeah, he's probably got it done then. I mean unless he just totally falls off his game.
Yeah. Actually, there was somebody earlier, Brewster was saying, did we hear anything about Bass was going back? I like that Swamp People comment, by the way.
That's funny.
Booster was asking about, is Bass going to go back to 80 people, 80 anglers? I mean, there was that in a perfect society, in a perfect world, I think that's what Bass hopes to do. And they're fine after this year. They're finally going to have to cut some dead weight. Some of those guys are in the bottom 10 or 15.
I know
They need
really
to get rid
do
of
need
those
to cut
guys.
some. I
So,
agree.
will they ever be back to the 125 that they used to? I don't think so. I think there's a magic number that they think will work. I think 80,
Yeah.
95, 80 to 90 is probably that magic number. And really those guys that are, no offense to the guys in the bottom, some of those guys in the bottom just they're not doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of money. I don't know. Have we ever done a show about how expensive it is for the guys for bass to fish a tournament? I mean, it's unreal money to be
it's
in
a lot of money.
So yeah, some of those guys just need to go, and I don't even. I wonder who's now that you say that, I'm going to go. I just want to look at Angler of the Year and see who some of the guys were in there that AOI standings who are on the bottom, that bottom group.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
I mean, Rick Morris. You want to know it? Here you go. Rick Clunn's the bottom 5.
What? Wow. They're not going to cut him.
I think they got to.
I don't think they will. I think they're going to find a way to keep him.
Well, he has his legacy chip, so he'll use that. But
Yeah.
I think in the last 2 years he's been in the bottom 15.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that one. I don't remember.
Well, like 3 years, was it 3 years ago when he actually had a win? He did have a win on the Elites not that long ago.
Yeah, at Palatka. I was there.
Okay. Oh, okay. What was that? 3 years ago then?
Yeah, he still finished I bet he was still in the bottom 20. I mean, he had one good tournament, and then the rest of them he was bad.
Yeah.
Well,
it does make you wonder, at what point, we don't talk about age much, but is there a point when it's just too much?
I had a long conversation with Lake Canelli years ago about how at a certain age he was thinking about quitting, and that was retiring, and I think that was this year, but I still think Ike will come back next year. I could be wrong. I probably am very wrong. If he doesn't, then I think he's completely out of bass fishing forever. I think he'll do his TV show, he'll do his kayak stuff. But he has that, if he feels that urge and competitiveness to do what he wants to do, he needs to do it this year.
We lost you for a minute there.
Oh, so actually blinking.
Yeah.
So,
well, it will be. I mean, that's one thing about if you're into tournament fishing. There's always something going on that's interesting and fun to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, man, we're getting down to like the last 5 minutes or so here. What else should we hit on?
We have what do you have? Why don't I just like to know? Make sure you subscribe to both the channels, like, comment, do all that shit. Click the notification bell, do all that stuff. Hit the like button on this channel tonight. By the way, we really do need it.
Yeah, we do need it.
What do you have going on this week? Just before we leave,
I'm going to be spending a lot of time tournament prep. I really got to start doing some research, especially on like the upper Chesapeake. Never fished that before. So I got to spend some time looking into that. I mean, that's a big waterway up there for kayak fishing, man. It's a big waterway. So
what about for the channel?
What's that?
What about for the channel this week?
For the channel, I've got a couple of more videos that I'm working on. I'm working on my Alaska videos. I've got another fishing in the grass video I need to publish, and I've got another 1 or 2 unboxing videos coming out. What about you? What's going on yours?
I have no clue. I don't even know what the next video is, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough.
I know it's done. Oh, hold on, I can tell you. I have a closer look video for the Berkeley Power Pop. It's that, and then I'm going to go to the Fish Arrow Flash Vibe Head Bass Fishing Lure. The hell is that? I don't even know what that one is. So I have a couple closer looks, and then starting next week will be iCast videos. So there'll be a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'll probably film with Guy Harvey because he and I are getting together for breakfast on one day.
Cool.
And then I have Pure Fishing and a couple other people too that are already kind of scheduled. And so I'll just be I'm going to try to get them up fairly fast. Having said that, I don't want to promise anything and under deliver at this point.
What are we doing next week with the class or with the iCast? Or are we going to have a show or what?
Yeah. You want to know what? Wednesday, it'll be on your channel next week.
Okay.
Here's what we'll do. I'm going to ask Edwin Evers to join us.
Really?
Edwin should be at the party with me, and we'll do it from the party.
Awesome. That sounds really fun.
Because he does owe me, kind of.
Oh, great.
So I might
cash it in.
Exactly. I might have to flex something on that. It would be nice to have him with us.
It would be.
Actually, there's going to be a bunch of people at that party that are professional people. So maybe I'll try to get a few people, and it might just be me handing the phone to them and you interviewing them.
Okay.
And I'll just stay away. But if it helps us, that's all that matters. Because we're a team.
Right on. Absolutely. That sounds fun. That sounds a lot of fun.
There should be a lot of people, to be honest. I mean, I know the list already. I don't want to go through the list because I'll get in trouble, but I know 5 people are going to be 5 studs are going to be there with us.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll have to do we'll figure that out. That'll be easy.
Well, I think we're about time to wrap up the show. It's amazing how fast 2 hours goes.
Yes.
And today we weren't even doing anything. We were just talking.
Yeah.
Hopefully
people enjoyed it.
Yeah, hopefully everybody enjoyed it. I guess we need some feedback. If you guys think we need to do something or fix something or quit talking about something. I mean, we kind of gravitate to certain topics that we really like talking to. If you want to hear something different, we're open to suggestions. Put them down in the comments. Let us know. Mm-hmm. And we'd love to try to accommodate you as much as possible.
For sure.
All right. I think we'll just wind her down then. Everybody have a great night. Steve, you want to close us like you always do?
Yep. Take a kid fishing. Get your fish on. Follow us. Follow the Mr. Bass channel, all of us. And thanks, everyone, for participating and being part of the team. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.